Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. Welcome to another edition of Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. We are going to talk about lost deals and what kills deals and what are some of the metrics around deals that are won versus lost. And today, the topic starts off, the title is Lost Deals Take 38% longer to find out that they're lost, that to finalize versus deals that go through. A lot of the times I hear clients complaining that prospects won't get back to them and that it's taking so long for them to hear back. For it's like black boxes, they're unresponsive. And a lot of the times that's what it means, is because it's taking such a long time because it's not going to happen. And I hate to tell you that while I take a sip, but I hate to tell you that, but statistics are proving us right. And this is all B2B research. So the first aspect of this research of deals that are dead is that time really does kill deals. And I've written a lot about this. You can read my blogs about this. And here's some proof in the pudding, is that it takes 151 days to win, to know that you've won and closed the sale, versus 208 days to find out that you've lost it. So obviously, the longer it sits, the longer it is going to, the higher the likelihood that it's going to be a dead deal. The second point of data is about the fact that the bigger deals obviously take longer to close. I mean, I had a client who worked for a bank, and it would take 3 years to close a new multi-million-dollar high net worth prospect, because it would take that long to establish a relationship and trust and so on. And it's, there's all sorts of ways that I teach in my marketing tools and my marketing strategy with clients to shorten that lead time. And I have specific action that we take to drive up the trust, and specific training that I do around trust and how to build that trust much, much faster and how to close much quicker. But the truth of it is, the bigger the deal, the longer the close. So $1 million deal takes 221 days to close, but $100,000 deal takes 2 months less than that to close. I have to slurp because you know that it has to be tea. It's actually like really cold in the condo today. The funniest thing happened. I'm like, I can do this because it's live, but I did a podcast interview today, and it had been booked like months and months in ahead, and it had been rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled. And at the end, and it's actually been live streamed here. And at the end of the podcast, I actually asked, we started talking about conferences and how travel and so on. And I asked him where he was based and out of, and he said Etobicoke, which is where I live, which is where I am right now. And I said, you're kidding. I said, where are you? And he said, well, he told me where he lived, and it's exactly where I live. And it turns out he lives upstairs. He's my upstairs neighbor. We live in the same tower, in the same complex. It is so bizarre. I thought he was American. I thought he was in the US, and he's a dual citizen. And we laughed so hard. It was so bizarre. And we talked about how, the garbage is leaking, and it's just, what a fantastic, funny thing to happen. But anyway, back to sales and selling. Okay. So why is it important that the bigger deals take longer to close? Well, if you know how long a deal takes by average size, then you can plot out strategic re-engagement parts and points of the relationship so that you can plot it, and you can have actual campaigns hit them during that time. And you can have email drips, you can have actual things of value to send to them. You can actually try to plot out the next meeting and the next meeting after that. Of course, I always say don't leave a meeting without a meeting. And there's a few other things in this research that you can use around engaging people, engaging and using your knowledge of how long the process is so that you can get in and actually close that meeting. So what we know now is the faster, the faster they respond to you, the more likelihood that it's going to close. The bigger the deal, the longer it takes to close. And then a third point of data is that closed deals actually had more email exchanges versus dead ones. So they had about 30% more, about a third more email exchanges. And then when they analyzed the sales reps who actually did send emails, winning sales reps sent 45%, that's almost 50%, 45% more emails than losing agents or losing sales reps. So the whole idea is to follow up, but provide value, give them new information about their pain or about a solution to their pain, give them other people who are going through that, give them things you see in the news, give them legislation or more information about what they're going through or how you're going to help, or in their industry. Send them trends that are happening in their industry that you've talked about. Okay, so not harassment, right? The more emails does not mean, so how you doing? I'm just following up on our conversation. That is not what it's about at all. It's finding different excuses to re-engage with them. In the past, something that I used to do is when I had prospects, I would invite them to every single new event that I was doing. It didn't matter that they were still stewing on it, thinking about it, they were still in the process of deciding it. I would invite them to masterminds, live streams, to executive roundtables. I would invite them to come and hear me speak. I would send them an invitation to go to the studio with me if I was doing an actual live audience, live TV appearance in their market. So those are some of the ways that you can continue to re-engage them and re-engage them and re-engage them. Okay. Another point of data is that the more meetings that you have, the more likelihood that it's going to close at a higher rate. So for example, the average meeting that for deals that closed were 10. So they had way more meetings. And then the average meetings for dead sales were 7. So you are having more meetings, you're emailing more, you're in touch more, you're talking to them more. And lastly, the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but it's a really good revelation for me, is that the more buyers that you engage for the actual purchase, the more closes, the more likelihood of a close. So each stakeholder in the meeting that you, or in the sales process that you engage, actually increases the likelihood of purchase by 4.5%. So that's amazing, because in other B2B sales data, what I've seen is that the larger the number of a buying group, larger the number of people in the buying group, the more, the less likely they are to want to trust and to take risks, and the longer it takes to close that deal. But on the reverse side, what's amazing is that if you get engagement and buy-in from multiple stakeholders that are in that buying group, and the more people that are in that group, the likelihood of purchase is higher. And each person actually represents a 4.5% higher likelihood, which it's amazing. So all of that to say, these are some data points to help you with your B2B sales process, so that you're not wandering around in the dark, you're not hopeless, you know what to do to maybe turn that train around. You can try to re-engage. You can try to re-engage through different people. You can try to re-engage through different value-added email strategies or other strategies. If you're ever wondering what happened to them, go back and look at what you've been doing and what you can change. And of course, always, always, always hire somebody who is 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, and get them to show you how it's done and how it's done better and quicker. And so you can have more sales, close quickly, stop the frustration, and learn a real formulaic way to rinse and repeat how to get large deals closed. I hope that was helpful. I hope your tea was delicious. Mine's always mint. And I hope you meet a neighbor in your building and that who was on your show, who was on your podcast, and who was doing funny things. It's just unbelievable. I'm still surprised and shocked. So you guys have a good week, and I'll talk to you next next Tuesday. What am I saying? All the best.